Today on Top Shelf Sports, we'll see if one of our reporters has what it takes to be a Husky athlete. The Cubs were in a do-or-die situation in Game 5 of the NLDS, and an insane submission sets a UFC record. Top Shelf Sports starts now.
Welcome to our third edition of Top Shelf Sports for the semester. I'm Nicole Ryan.
And I'm Austin Hansen. Soccer season is in full swing with both teams in conference play.
We'll kick off with some women's soccer. Women's soccer battles the Kent State Golden Flashes tonight in a rematch of last season's MAC championship. The Huskies lost in a heartbreaker in last year's MAC title game when the Golden Flashes scored the winning game goal with 4 minutes left in regulation. The Huskies have not beaten the Golden Flashes since 2013, despite leading the all-time series with 9 wins, 8 losses, and 4 draws. NIU is coming off a huge win last Sunday when they handed the MAC favorite Ball State its first conference loss of the season. The team will honor its seniors, including Allie Ingham, Amy Anila, and Natalia Pena, on Sunday for Senior Day. Top Shelf Sports reporter Scott Nickel had the opportunity to face off against the women's soccer team with a penalty kick shootout.
We'll see if Scott was able to take down some Division I athletes.
I challenged women's soccer player Natalie Yass to a penalty kick shootout. She didn't flinch when accepting. I knew I was in over my head, but I had to bring my A game. She tried to intimidate me, but I didn't flinch. My confidence was running at an all-time high, and then she began shooting. Her first shot, she points one way, shoots another, goal. Her second shot, a valiant effort as a save, still a goal. Her third shot, I get a little closer, but she puts it upper 90 for another goal. Natalie was very, very modest with her goals. Final shot, final attempt at a save, and it's another goal. And then it was my turn to shoot on goal and Megan Donnelly.
Come at me, Scott. I know where you're going.
Oh, you think so, huh? All these are going upper 90.
Or so I thought. My first shot, not the best one in the world. My second one, I go for that upper 90, and it's over the bar. Third shot, try some trickery, doesn't pan out for me. My final shot, Megan makes a great save, and I do not score.
I would have done so much better if I wasn't forced to wear these khaki pants today. I was this close, this close.
For Top Shelf Sports, I'm Scott Nickel.
It looks like Scott needs a bit more practice if he wants to be a Division I soccer player. A huge thanks to women's soccer for allowing Scott to embarrass himself like that.
The men's soccer team hosts its first conference game at home tomorrow when they take on the number 13 ranked Western Michigan Broncos. The Huskies have not beaten the Broncos since 2011, though they lead the all-time series with 18 wins, 10 losses, and 2 draws. NIU will have their work cut out for them since the Broncos have lost just 2 games this season and are coming off of a shutout win against the reigning MAC champions, the Akron Zips. The Huskies have not won a game in nearly a month, as their last win was September 15th against the Omaha Mavericks. Since then, the Huskies have racked up 4 losses and 1 draw and have just 4 games remaining in MAC play. NIU looks to build on their homecoming win against Kent State with a game in Buffalo tomorrow. The Huskies are 3-2 on the season thus far, with their only losses coming at the hands of number 19 San Diego State and Boston College. With conference play officially underway, our Huskies are looking to run the table on their MAC foes. The Buffalo Bulls are sitting at 500 with a 3-3 record, but NIU has won the last 10 meetings between the two. The last Buffalo win against Northern was in 1968, if you can believe that. The Huskies and Bulls kick off at 2:30 tomorrow.
The cross-country team is in Peoria today to compete in the Bradley Classic. 9 Huskies will be competing in the Red 6K race, including junior Erica Hibzer, freshman Mackenzie Callahan, and senior Lorena Martin. Former NIU cross-country star Hope Schmesley Hoffman was honored at last Saturday's homecoming game for her career as a Husky. She set multiple school records and is NIU's first track and field All-American. The NIU volleyball team had a successful weekend. The Huskies extended their winning streak to 3 games after defeating the Toledo Rockets and the Ball State Cardinals Friday and Saturday. Freshman outside hitter Kaylee Martin was named the MAC West Division Offensive Player of the Week on Monday after posting 2 kills, double in double matches. The team will conclude their road trip when they face the Buffalo Bills tonight and the Akron Zips tomorrow morning.
The women's tennis team started play in the ITA Regionals at the University of Michigan yesterday. This is the Huskies' first tournament since last month when they competed in the Bradley Invitational in Peoria, Illinois. NIU had a strong team performance at Bradley that was led by senior Abigail DeKinga, who reached the championship match in C-flight singles. The Huskies look to keep the momentum going for the rest of the tournament. That concludes Tuesday in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
After the break, the Cubs head to Game 5 against the Nationals as the Northsiders hope to keep their back-to-back World Series championship dreams alive.
And the Bulls wrap up their preseason against Toronto. Also, for the first time since 1986, men's soccer is out of the World Cup contention.
You made this vacation happen, cleverly merging promotions,
Double points with every purchase.
and cross-referencing travel sites. Aloha! If you can ace your vacation, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
The men's golf team wrapped up play at the Wyndon Memorial Classic and finished 13th place. Sophomore Jordan Less led the way for the Huskies with a 17th place finish, highlighted by a 2-under par round of 68 in the final round. The season continues at the Pine Tree Intercollegiate October 23rd and 24th at Pine Tree Country Club in Kennesaw, Georgia.
NIU Athletics inducted the 2017 class into the Athletics Hall of Fame on Friday. The biannual induction ceremony began with a cocktail reception at the Duke Ellington Ballroom and the Home Student Center before the festivities began. Current members and former inductees of the Hall of Fame were welcomed back by the NIU crowd. There are nearly 200 athletes that can call themselves members of the Hall of Fame, and 6 more joined the prestigious group. Rick Cerrone coordinated the event and labeled it as a success.
But I think overall it went very well. I think everyone enjoyed it. Some real high points, some poignant moments. So I was very pleased with it. I think the audience was as well.
And now for our national sports coverage, we'll send it over to our reporter, Kobe Price, at the sports desk. Kobe?
Thanks, guys. The Chicago Cubs sent their fans on a roller coaster of emotions in last night's marathon of a game. The game lasted just under 5 hours, and it was a game that was back and forth all night. The Nationals got out to a 4-1 lead after Michael A. Taylor hit a 3-run home run off a Cubs pitcher, Kyle Hendricks. But the Cubs wouldn't go away, eventually taking a 9-6 lead heading into the 7th inning. The Cubs asked closer Wade Davis to get the last 7 outs of the game. Davis had never recorded more than 3 outs in his entire career. Wilson Contreras picked off Nationals backup catcher Jose Labaton to end the 8th inning with a 1-run lead. Davis was able to record the last out when he struck out Bryce Harper on a 3-1 pitch to send the Cubs to their 3rd straight National League Championship Series. It was a whirlwind of a game. And now we will hear from Cubs manager Joe Maddon on the upcoming series against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
We're different because they really overcame the inability to really work against lefties. They're better. So they made some nice moves. They're more balanced in that regard. They got lefties that hit lefties too, which makes them more difficult. Always have the good bullpen. They have a specific plan regarding how they like to pitch.
We also got a chance to catch up with NIU students to find out what they believe the Cubs have the chance to do in the NLCS.
I'm not crazy about their chances against the Dodgers, just because I think that LA's got a much better team. And I think that Maddon is going to try to outsmart everyone, and he's ended up shooting himself in the foot.
I think they have a decent chance to make it to the series. The Dodgers were the best team in baseball this year, and it's a rematch of last year's NLCS. So I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. I think the Cubs have a chance. Unfortunately, I think the Dodgers are going to win in about 6 games. But I think they have a chance to make it to the World Series. I think the biggest thing with them is they are the reigning champs, so they know what it takes to win.
The New York Yankees and the Houston Astros prepare for Game 1 of the American League Conference Series tonight in Houston. The Yankees are coming off a Game 5 win against the defending American League champions, Cleveland Cavaliers, as Didi Gregorius sends Corey Kluber deep in the 1st inning. Former Cubs closer Aroldis Chapman closes out the tribe to send the Yankees to the ALCS to face the Houston Astros. The Astros are riding the hot bats of Jorge Altuve, Carlos Correa, and George Springer. Dallas Keuchel late season acquisition Justin Verlander looked to slow down the big bats of Aaron Judge and the Yankees. The first pitch of Game 1 is tonight at 7:08 p.m. at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Now moving on to the hockey world, the Blackhawks look to continue their impressive start to the season against the Minnesota Wild. The Wild were the first team to tally a point when Eric Staal scored a goal off of a smooth Charlie Coyle assist in the 2nd period. The Blackhawks will retaliate later in the 3rd period when Patrick Kane passed the puck to Tanner Kira. An in-between-the-leg shot by Kira turned a goal by Ryan Hartman to even the score 1-1. However, the Blackhawks win to gain the lead as right-wing Chris Stewart scored a goal off an assist from left-wing Jason Zucker to give the Wild a 2-1 lead. Minnesota would go on to score 3 of the next 4 goals, winning the game 5-2. The Blackhawks will continue their brief homestand tomorrow evening when they face the Nashville Predators. In their first matchup of the season, Chicago Bears faced the division rivals, the Minnesota Vikings, this past week on Monday Night Football. The Bears scored the 4th points of the game late in the 1st quarter when linebacker Leonard Floyd delivered the crushing sack to Sam Bradford for a safety. The Bears continued to keep the game competitive after unleashing the old trickaroo fake punt pass play to score a touchdown in the middle of the 3rd quarter. However, the biggest news from the week was the Bears giving 2017 number 2 draft pick Mitchell Trubisky the starting nod. Although too many of his big passes were negated by penalties, Trubisky played a very good game as he displayed the athleticism and creativity from the quarterback position that the Bears have been lacking for years. He recorded his first official touchdown of his NFL career when he threw a deep 20-yard pass to tight end Zach Miller to bring the Bears within striking distance. The fun didn't stop there, though, as Mitchie T successfully completed a 2-point conversion trick run play that had fans' heads spinning to tie the game up 17-17. Unfortunately, it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine for the Bears, as their rookie QB Trubisky threw a game-changing interception to Harrison Smith in the Bears' own backfield to give the Vikings perfect field position for a game-sealing field goal. The Bears will look to bounce back from their loss this Sunday when they face the 3-2 Baltimore Ravens. The Chicago Cubs will conclude their preseason play tonight when they host the Toronto Raptors in the United Center. The Bulls have had an up-and-down preseason so far with impressive wins against the Cleveland Cavaliers, New Orleans Pelicans, and the Milwaukee Bucks, but equally embarrassing losses to the Dallas Mavericks and New Orleans Pelicans. In their first season without a true star player in almost a decade, head coach Fred Hoiberg will be looking to implement an offensive system that emphasizes pace, ball movement, and three-point shooting. After being one of the slowest and worst shooting teams in the NBA last season, the the Bulls currently rank 4th in three-point shots made and attempted during the 2017 preseason. 2017 number 7 draft pick Lauri Markkanen followed up a forgettable preseason debut against the Pelicans with a splendid 18.5 rebound showing against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Bulls will open up their regular season against the Toronto Raptors Thursday evening in Toronto.
So I've been very impressed with the attitude and the mentality of our players. The thing that we're going to continue to stress as the year goes on through the ups and downs is continuing to play the right way and playing for each other and playing unselfish basketball.
On to the worst sports news of the week. For the first time since 1986, the U.S. men's national soccer team will not be competing in the World Cup after their loss in the World Cup qualifiers. Trinidad opened up the scoring in the 17th minute when Omar Gonzalez looped a goal over U.S. goalkeeper Tim Howard to give Trinidad a 1-0 lead. Trinidad's fans were filled with emotion after the first goal and could feel the U.S.'s elimination at their fingertips, and this excitement trickled down to the players. In the 36th minute, Alvin Jones extended Trinidad's lead to 2 when he crushed a weaving shot from the right side right past Tim Howard. The U.S. started a comeback attempt in the 46th minute when Christian Pulisic shot a ball just outside the penalty box into the back of the net to cut the U.S. deficit to 1 goal. Unfortunately, the U.S. was unable to complete the comeback and lost by a final score of 2-1 after less than 1 year in the position. Bruce Arena stepped down as the men's head coach earlier today. The U.S. Soccer Federation hasn't made it clear who will take over the team going forward. Now that's all from the Sports Hub. My name is Cody Price, and back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up next on Top Shelf Sports,
We'll help you get a leg up with your fantasy team this week.
and let you know the top 10 plays of the week.
Opening that education savings account when she was little, spearheading campus tours, and deciphering financial aid. If you can ace planning for college, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org. You made your house a reality. Homeschooling yourself on loans, color-coding listings, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. If you can ace house hunting, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to savethefood.com.
Leading by example is one of the key characteristics of a standout athlete.
Our next Leader of the Pack recipient shows her resilience on the mat.
I'm Emily Becerra, and this is Leader of the Pack.
NIU junior Emily Becerra was given a full-ride scholarship to make her childhood dream a reality. Becerra worked vigorously to get to the collegiate level as a gymnast. Driven by her determination to succeed, she would use her positive attitude to overcome obstacles in her way.
When I was really young, I was super clumsy, so my mom thought the best idea to fix that would be to put me into gymnastics. I just fell in love with the sport and everything it offered me.
Before her first ever collegiate competition, Emily suffered a torn ACL injury that put her aspirations to a sudden halt. Although, instead of giving up on her gymnastics career, Emily used her injury as a motivation to come back stronger than ever.
I was starting to get back and get my skills and everything. It was just even more motivation to come back for this season because, you know, it's just something I've been wanting to do for forever.
With inspiration from her family, teammates, and coaches, Emily was well on her path to recovery. And after a year of rehabilitation, Emily recovered from her injury and was cleared to get back on the mat.
I just went out there, and I don't really remember the routine all that much because I was so nervous, but when I stuck the dismount, it really just put an exclamation point on everything I've been working for.
Emily has now completed 2 meets thus far, as she is currently limited to the uneven parallel bars event. She is training to perform in all 4 gymnastic events during the 2017-2018 season.
The biggest thing you can do for someone is just to cheer them on and make them, motivated, let them know that you're there for them, you want them to succeed.
Emily's determination to maintain a positive attitude through challenging times makes her this week's leader of the pack. For NTC News, I am Eddie Garcia.
Junior gymnast Emily Becerra joins us on set now.
Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So you had a devastating injury your freshman year. How were you able to recover from that?
So my freshman year, I tore my ACL doing a scale off bars, and it was actually really, really hard. It was really difficult for me to get through, but coming back sophomore year, I trained really hard. I had to do a lot of physical therapy, a lot of treatment outside of class and outside of practice, and so I think just the motivation from my teammates and my coaches to try to get back as fast as I can is really what got me through.
And are you going to be competing in all 4 events?
Hopefully. We won't really know until around December, January-ish, until our coach tells us who the top 6 are in each event. I hope to be competing in all 4 events. I still, of course, have a lot of work to do, but I think if we keep up the good work that we're doing, I hopefully will be able to.
All right, so what are you looking forward to most this season?
This season, I feel like we have a really good team bond going. We have 4 new freshmen, even though we lost some really great seniors last year. I think that this season I'm really looking forward to the camaraderie and just the teammanship that we have this year. I think we've all been working really hard this year, and this fall our preseason has been awesome. Our coach has really been pushing us, so I'm just excited to get out there and compete and to show everyone what we got.
Right, that's great. So going off of your team, you guys had a great season last year.
Yeah,
are you hoping to repeat?
Of course. I mean, last year we fell a little bit short of our goal, which of course is to be MAC champions. But I think with the work that we're putting in now with the new freshmen, and each class is actually, including my class and the new senior class and the sophomores, have really improved a ton. I think we worked really hard this summer. I think that with the work that we've been putting in the gym, I think that we could do just as good, if not better, this year out on the floor. So hopefully, with the preseason coming up and we have a couple practice meets before our season starts, hopefully, we can get out there and get a lot of wins.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, Emily, and we can't wait to watch you compete.
Thank you, guys.
History was indeed made in the octagon last Saturday.
Adam Carr has more in this week's MMA discussion.
We talked last week about the 3 main fights of UFC 216. 2 delivered, and 1 was changed at the last second due to injury. Flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson set the record for most consecutive title defenses with his win over Ray Borg. In the final round of the dominating performance, the champion pulled off what may be the most spectacular submission in UFC history, as he suplexed Borg and mid-suplex secured an armbar like a ninja. Mighty Mouse now stands alone as the single most dominant champion in UFC history. The grudge match for the interim UFC lightweight title also did not see the judges' scorecards. Most favored Tony Ferguson to win, but Kevin Lee came out standing with him to open the fight. He ended up in the mount, raining down blows to end the first, most likely giving him the round. In the end, though, Ferguson got his first taste of the UFC title as he put Lee away with a triangle choke. UFC President Dana White has guaranteed a unification fight between Ferguson and reigning champ Conor McGregor, but his guarantees have a history of, well, not being guaranteed. Finally, Derek Lewis was pulled off the card, and Walt Harris was stepped in to be swiftly finished by former UFC heavyweight champion Fabricio Verdum. Now for a jump to Japan to preview Rizin's upcoming card. Rizin Fighting Federation is continuing the first round of the Bantamweight tournament, as the B block will be underway Saturday. The A block concluded with former UFC fighter Kyoji Horiguchi facing Japanese fan favorite Hideo Tokoro, but the fight didn't last long as Horiguchi stepped in and stopped the octopus in the first. Not too many familiar names stepping into the B block for North American fans, with Bantamweight champion King of Pancrase Shintaro Ishiwatari being Horiguchi's closest competition. They faced each other in 2013, with Horiguchi getting another KO in 5 rounds. Also on the card, UFC Hall of Famer Kazushi Sakuraba will take on former light heavyweight champion Frank Shamrock in a grappling exhibition, and kickboxing legend Andy Sauer takes on unconventional striker Akio Wiki Nishiura. I'm Adam Carr, and this has been your MMA Discussion. Back to you guys.
Last weekend was the first race in NASCAR's round of 12.
For more, let's send it over to Brandon Morocco in the garage.
Thanks, guys. Last weekend, NASCAR was in Charlotte. It was the first race of the second round of NASCAR's playoffs. So let's head to the track and see how it all unfolded. The race started out in a not-so-typical way for Martin Truex Jr. He qualified 17th, and it was Kevin Harvick who was dominating most of the race. Harvick won the first two stages, and Truex finished 12th at the end of the first stage. That was the first time since the 4th of July weekend that Truex finished out of the points in the first stage. The pass for the lead would come on pit road this weekend. Truex had fought an ill-handling race car all day and got up to second. He had an excellent entrance on the pit road during green flag stops and was able to close the gap that Harvick had built over him. That and a quick stop by his team gave Truex the lead. Truex held on to the lead for a couple of restarts, but ultimately it was that pit stop that gave him the win because it allowed him to be up front in the clean air. And it was a disastrous day for Kyle Busch. He hit the wall in the second stage, and Busch hit the wall 3 times total, but he finished the race. After the race, he collapsed to the ground. The crash caused damage to the air system and elevated carbon monoxide levels in the car. Busch was treated and is fine, and because he stayed in the car and kept racing, he got 8 points total, which may be the difference for him come Homestead, Miami. Busch finished 29th in the race and falls to 6th place in the points. Now we turn our attention to this weekend as NASCAR heads to Talladega Superspeedway. You know, this is the wild card race of the playoffs. Time and time again, it has shown that anything can happen at Talladega. The restrictor plate expert Dale Earnhardt Jr. is making his final full-time NASCAR start at Talladega this Sunday. And if there's any track for him to get that final win, odds are that it would be from this one. Alabama Governor Kay Irvine even named this Sunday Dale Earnhardt Jr. Day. As far as the playoff contenders go, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the last 2 restrictor plate races and looks to get a 3rd in his row to advance to the round of 8. Kyle Busch has been passed on the last lap the last 2 restrictor plate races, and he looks to seal the deal on Sunday. This is one that I always circle as being one not to miss. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of close racing. Even look for the big crashes. So from the garage, I'm Brandon Morocco. Now let's send it back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Brandon.
Now it's time for our favorite segment of the show. We'll send it to reporter Eric Martin, who has fantasy players to watch for and the top plays of the week.
Welcome to the top fantasy players to watch for this week. First off, a wide receiver, keep an eye on Tyreek Hill this week. Hill has shown his speed as both a receiver and a kick returner as he returned a punt last week. He was targeted 6 times and also gets some carries. For quarterbacks, if you're not already doing it, start Aaron Rodgers. Right now, he's coming off of a comeback win against the Cowboys, and he is not looking to slow down. So start him this week if you have him. Lastly, for running backs, Leonard Fournette is a good one to start this week. Coming off of a win against the Steelers, he had 28 carries for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns, and also has 5 touchdowns on the year so far. That's all for the fantasy players. Now time for the top 10 plays of the week. Starting off at number 10, Nashville Predators defenseman P.K. Subban shows off his accuracy as he shoots the puck the length of the ice for an empty net goal, and this will be the dagger for their 4-1 win. At number 9, we have Johnny Gaudreau deking out defenders with his fast hands and then throwing a pass through the legs of a Kings defender to find Michael Frolik and take the 2-0 lead. Over to football for number 8, Deshaun Watson drops back, has time, and launches a 44 yards to DeAndre Hopkins, who leaps above 2 Chiefs defenders to pull in the touchdown, but they will still lose. Wilson Contreras comes in at number 7 as he tries to catch Jose Lobaton sleeping at first base. At first, he is called safe, but after video review, it is shown that Lobaton did not keep his foot on the bag as Rizzo continued to hold the tag. He will be called out later, and the Cubs win 9-8, advance to the NLCS. Back to hockey for play number 6, and it's Red Wings goaltender Paul Mrazek with the back-to-back saves, showing the flexibility the goalie has as he stretches out as far as he can to make the second kick save. Aaron Rodgers comes in at number 5 as he shows his mobility, rolls out and throws a dime on the run Martellus Bennett, who dives and makes the catch. This will spark some Packers offense. We will see more from Rodgers later. Over to basketball for number 4, and Derrick Rose throws up a no-look alley-oop pass to Jeff Green, slams it down on Rose's old team who drafted him. Chicago Bears take the number 3 spot as they pull off a fake punt. Pat O'Donnell takes a snap and casually throws it past Benny Cunningham, who will juke out the returner, spin around a Viking defender, and eventually finish off a 38-yard play. Bears still lose. DeAndre Jordan comes in as number 2 as he slams a hard alley-oop, and then number 1 is back to Aaron Rodgers for a walk-off touchdown pass with 11 seconds left. Rodgers once again leads the Packers on a game-winning drive. He had 1 minute and 9 seconds to do it, and he still had 11 seconds to spare. That's it for the top 10 plays of the week. Now back to the desk.
Top Shelf Sports is produced and directed by students here at Northern Illinois University.
For more on Top Shelf Sports, look us up and like us on Facebook. Be on the lookout for our various podcasts on SoundCloud, and you can also check out our new Twitter site at @topshelf_NIU to keep up with the latest sports content.
We want to thank you all for joining us, and as always,
Go Huskies!